Welcome everyone to this session on Form 1099 compliance, due diligence, reporting requirements, and the latest updates. So we'll get started right off the bat with reminders of what's new. We do have a lot of items to cover today, and to fit it into an hour and a half, I will be going quickly through some of the slides that are more just informational rather than something of substance to the presentation. Starting right off, there is a new new 1099 for 2020. It's not really new. It's a resurrection of a prior Form 1099 NEC for non-employee compensation. This will be replacing the Box 7 on 1099 miscellaneous, and I presume that's because of the difference in due date for items 1099 miscellaneous that reports items in Box 7, and any other 1099 miscellaneous that does not report anything in Box 7. But we'll talk about that as we go along today as it applies to the 2019 reporting. There are some online fillable forms that were started in 2018. This includes Form 1099 miscellaneous. The copies 1, B, 2, C, and D on the forms. Not all the forms have all of those copies, but those forms can be filled out online and used to send into states, provide to recipients, and for your own records, but not copy A, the copy that has the red ink on it, because that still needs to be an official form or an approved substitute form because of that red ink enhancing the filing of paper forms. If you're not filing paper forms, that's not an issue, but you can still fill out the forms online and print them and use them for other purposes for these other copies. The backup withholding rate changed. This is for payments where somebody has not provided a W-9 or a tax ID number and name, or as you've been notified that it's incorrect and they have not provided you with a corrected one. The backup withholding rate is 24% starting in 2018. Previously, it was 28%. The 30% non-resident alien withholding rate remains unchanged. That is not so much backup withholding rate as the regular rate for payments other than those for most dependent personal services, which would be the graduated income tax rates. Where to file your paper forms has been subject to some changes over the past couple of years. There are now 3 service centers. Be sure to check the instructions for where your state should be filing these forms, because some states have been moved around with the addition of the Ogden Service Center. There are some new forms. Most of them don't apply to most of the people attending this session, I guess. There's 1099 LS for reportable life insurance sale filed by the acquirer of a life insurance contract that doesn't have any interest or an interest in the life insurance contract that doesn't have a direct or indirect for direct or indirect acquisition where the acquirer has no substantial family, business, or financial relationship to the insured. Form 1099-SB is the seller's investment in life insurance contract for whoever sold that. This is filed by the issuer of the contract. So you've got 2 documents going to the seller of the contract, one from the acquirer and one from the issuer. Form 1098-F is for fines, penalties, and other amounts. The other amounts include things like restitution, which might be tax deductible. So fines, penalties generally are not. This is filed by governmental entities and certain non-governmental entities with self-regulatory powers. The filing due date, just as a reminder, if you're reporting on Form 1099 miscellaneous, anything in Box 7, non-employee compensation, the form needs to be filed by January 31st to be timely. This also applies to Forms W-2. It relates to identity theft and early filed and fraud on early filed returns. The idea is that by filing by January 31st, the IRS can run a match against the early filed returns and detect issues where the income reported on the tax returns is due to some fraud or identity theft in attempting to obtain certain refundable tax credits, such as the earned income tax credit, the child credit. Otherwise, the paper forms need to be filed with the IRS by February 28th and the e-filed forms by March 31st. The due date to the payees remains the same.